This is Truth with Never Before on Yarne FM. It's 11:37, and sitting across from me is the president of Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana, Me Kenelwe Ufihlile. Welcome to Wired.
Thank you.
You travel safely coming here?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for really taking the time out to come speak to us, Kwano. But before we begin our conversation, I think just so that we all understand what Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana is and what exactly is your mandate.
Okay, thank you very much. May I please start by greeting the listeners at home, the Yarne FM listeners. Basically, the Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana is a professional body, health body, that represents the interests of the pharmacists, the people who are very critical in decision making in the pharmaceutical industry. So we serve them in terms of making sure that there is professional development. We promote pharmacy services. We also work in collaboration with the ministry to ensure that we deliver best services, best healthcare at low cost to our customers.
Now, recently we've seen in recent press release from the Ministry of Health about the suspension of the program, especially when it comes to things like chronic medication could be collected from private pharmacies. And we've also seen mention of shortages in some essential medicines, right? I'm not going to speak on everything that they've mentioned, also giving priority to certain things over others, right? I think let's start with just shortages impact. How widespread really in your position, right, is the shortage across the country, and which categories of medicines are really most affected?
Thank you very much for that question. And I would also like to start by acknowledging that we do have a very transparent government. I like to applaud them for having coming forth and sharing the challenges that they are facing, so that we know exactly what we are dealing with. So as they have highlighted in the press release, we do have challenges around medications for hypertension, diabetes, and also mental health. And this is a nationwide problem. And I would also like to highlight to listeners that the current situation that is happening currently in our country is not necessarily a local issue. This is a global issue. We have giant countries like America, Australia. They also have shortages of availability of medicines. So it's how we navigate the issues that we have at hand that will see us come through. So can you remind me again part of the follow-up question as to the impact?
Okay, my follow-up question is, especially as PSB role currently, or what role can you play in matters of this nature?
Okay. Thank you very much. And you also remember in the press release there was also mention of suspension of the private practice partnership, which local pharmacies, retail pharmacies were key players in service delivery, which was actually a very good initiative, which was helping to relieve the government. Remember, government has been talking of shortage of healthcare providers, including pharmacists. And by partnering with the local retail market, it came at a very good time to relieve the ministry in terms of shortages of staff. And we have seen success in this program. And obviously there are also challenges that are there. And the successes, I believe no patient has ever said they want this to stop. One, because it also bypasses long queues in the facilities, in the public facilities. And when they access their medications from the local pharmacies, they also get attention, because those pharmacies usually they're not very busy as the public sector. So you are able to have enough time to explain, you are able to ask questions, and you also are able to choose the pharmacy that you want to take your medications from and register with it. However, with the shortfalls, definitely the challenges of government not being able to pay their bills has also affected the industry. And the other challenges also that can be improved should this great initiative be brought back. We'll be looking at how the framework was done. Currently, we know that we only have a sole distributor that was distributing to these pharmacies that were providing the medicines, to these chronic medications to patients. So if we can have a bit of flexibility and allow for competition, because where there's competition also, the service is going to thrive.
Yeah.
Yes.
In times like these, how do pharmacists really communicate with patients to ensure they don't abruptly stop essential treatments, looking at the fact that, like you're saying, there has been a call to say we're going to halt this program for now, but it doesn't mean it's forever.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like us to redirect us to say, in the public sector, there are pharmacists who are actually doing a great job in terms of providing medications, ensuring that we have medications for the clients, right from central medical stores all the way to the facilities. And where we now face strategies like we do, patients who find themselves having to go to the private pharmacies, they also meet there with professionals in the industry who are audited, who are registered, and they're able to provide the best care, best counseling to these clients. So I would like to assure the public that whether you are being serviced at the public facilities or you are serviced at the local retail facilities, pharmacists in those areas, they do their work. They ensure that they provide counseling, and in times of crisis like this, they also offer alternatives. Remember, as a pharmacist, we are an expert in the medicine field. So where there's availability of a certain commodity, say for hypertension, you are able to advise the doctors that for this client, because currently we are having shortages of this commodity that they've been taking, they offer alternatives. They're able to offer that information to the care, to the providers, and also to the patients. And the other thing is to discourage patients to panic and start to self-medicate. As a country, we know we do believe in traditional medicines, and we've heard people talk of how they can cure diabetes, they can cure hypertension. The issue with traditional medicines is that there's issue of safety. Most of them, they have not been tested for safety. So I would like to plead to the public that they should remain calm, and they should go to their nearest pharmacist. Remember also, pharmacists in the retail environment, they're usually the first stop for most of the patients in the community where they are not able to access the doctors. They will come to you as a pharmacist, and you're in a position to advise better. And there are instances where they would want you to help them with things that needs to have been prescribed by a doctor or a nurse. So they offer that redirection to say, for this one, you need to go back and see your doctor. However, where they are able to intervene, because they are also healthcare professionals, they offer that assistance with due diligence. Yeah.
Now, before we let you go, when it comes to, let's look ahead now with long-term strategies or solutions, because this is what we really are looking for at a time like this. What strategies would Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana recommend to avoid maybe similar medicine shortages or even program suspensions in future?
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to let the public know that what we are seeing right now is the tip of the iceberg. Remember, in the supply chain, for you to end up running out of medicines that you can give to a customer, that is the end user of the medication. These medications, they come from manufacturing industries. They go through a lot of key players in the supply chain industry until they reach our customer. So for long-term solutions, as a nation, we need now to have discussions with the technicals in the area, which are pharmacists definitely, and professional bodies like PSB and other institutions that represent the voice and the professional standards of pharmacy in the country. They're here to collaborate with the government, and as PSB, we also work closely with the government to sit down and come up with strategies that can improve the entire supply chain. You will remember that back around 2016, there were instances where the government was trying to explore ways to bypass the local distributors to go and procure medications directly from the manufacturers.
Yes.
We have to be mindful that if you try to cut supply chain key players, you are still going to end up in a way paying more for the commodity, because all these key players are there for a reason. They are there to make sure that, one, they assure quality, they assure safety of medications. And we know that most of local people, they will also say, why don't we push for generic medications so that we can improve supply? Generics, usually they are produced after an innovator company has produced a certain product. They have invested in research, and they have to reclaim back what they had invested in manufacturing that product. That's why their prices are usually higher. They are given a certain time period to explore the market so that they are able to get their returns back. And then at a later stage, that's when they can share with other companies now who are going to produce generics, so that they now can avail the drugs at a lower cost. These companies producing generics, they do not incur the cost of research and also trying this before they are actually out there. The trial and errors. That's why their medicines are cheaper. So we cannot always run to them, because medicine is always evolving. It's an evolving area, whereby today you are treating hypertension using this medication, tomorrow is no longer as effective. You now have to look for newer solutions, and somebody has to invest in research. And from the manufacturing industry, these drugs, they have to be transported. So there's a cargo person who has to make money. When you receive them at the borders, there's someone who has to assure quality. This person has to make money. And then there's somebody who has to distribute these drugs until they reach that patient. So all these key players are very important in the supply chain industry. So bypassing all this, one, it might compromise quality, it might also collapse the local market. So as Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana and other bodies that represent the supply chain industry, we offer alternatives, and we are willing to sit down with the ministry to discuss solutions. And currently what we are trying to do is to embark on ways to have a conference where we are going to have stakeholders coming together and having panel discussions, so that in the end we can all draw conclusions. And remember, Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana is a key stakeholder of the ministry. And a lot of times, I must say, the ministry engages us in a lot of processes. So whatever problem that you see, one way or the other, we have been contacted, and we are actually working with the ministry to see how better can we improve this situation that is going. And as PSB, because we are more facilitators to bring in all the relevant stakeholders, that is why now we are planning to have this conference. We have not yet come to you to talk about it because we know everybody's grappling with finances. So we are still talking to our potential sponsors to see if they can spare something, so that we can all sit together as the key stakeholders, including the Ministry of Health, come together, sit and discuss. Currently, we have processes of procurement that are being utilized. And anything that you have started, you have to stop somewhere and try and refine it. Assess if it's working well for you. If there's something that is not working well, say maybe the prices have gone up in the market, we need to find out why the prices skyrocket, so that we can now come up with ways to strike a balance.
There's somebody here who is trying to call. Hello. Okay, if you have any question, unfortunately we've really run out of time, but I would like to invite you back to come through and really talk to us. I think this is something that cannot be done in just a few minutes. It's a conversation that we will keep having until we really come back to a place where we hope to be back when we were able, to have access to medication and press releases, there's a shortage. But in wrapping it up, I think in your point of view, do you see this crisis still here months from now? When do you think we will have some sort of relief in the near future?
Okay, thank you for that question. I would like to give an example of our diamond industry. We know we've been thriving from selling diamonds. We are manufacturers. Not manufacturers, we actually are the producers, one of the largest producers of diamonds in Botswana. And we are not the largest consumers of diamonds. So we know we depend on external market. Same thing, Botswana does not have a single industry that produces drugs from raw materials. We are either packaging or just importing the whole product as it is. So until we sit down together and we come up with better ways to improve the supply chain processes, we might see the situation lingering around for long. However, if we start acting now, we might see this resolving in the near future.
President of the Pharmaceutical Society Botswana, sparing their time with us. Thank you so much for really taking the time out to speak to us. Please have a pleasant day. But if somebody wants to reach out to the Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana to learn more and maybe to collaborate, like you're saying, you are still in talks and trying to plan things around. Maybe somebody's listening and saying, hey, I want to be part of the conversation. I want to maybe even lend a hand. Where can one find you on social media or contact details?
Thank you very much. We have a Facebook page where you can just search Pharmaceutical Society of Botswana and it will pop up and you'll be able to reach us there, and you can start a chat with us and we will respond. Or you also find our email address on our Facebook page where you can write to us and if you want us to collaborate with you on anything. Or I can also share my number that is available for business relationships.
Yes.
And my number is 7631-9852.
Thank you so much for coming through. It is